Welcome, guys. It is Brad with College SportsCast. We're here to do Week 16. This is Wildcat Weekly. We got a new football coach. We got basketball falling out of the top 25. We got volleyball in the NCAA tournament. And women's basketball is 10-1. Let's go.
Thank you for tuning in to College SportsCast. College SportsCast presents Wildcat Weekly.
That's right. It is Wildcat Weekly time here at College SportsCast. I've got John Hammonds on here with me tonight. What's up, Hammonds?
What's up, man?
How are you this evening?
I'm doing good, man. I'm hanging in there.
All right, man. So if you're on Facebook with us, we're growing like crazy. I think we're over 7,200 now on Facebook. We appreciate you. Hit that subscribe. It's only 99 cents a month. Does help support us just a little bit each month. And it does give you your own subscribers page and chat. And we've been trying to chat it up during games and just having a little bit of fun in the chat. So come join us. If you're on YouTube, we want you to join us there as well. Hit that like and subscribe on YouTube as well. We appreciate you if you would do that on both platforms, and that would be Facebook or YouTube. All right, while we were on here, I do want to put up on the top left corner of this screen is a QR code. That QR code is for Home Field Apparel. Home Field Apparel Company is a collegiate apparel company. There is lots and lots of cool things there. If you're a Kentucky fan and have not checked out Home Field Apparel, man, they got some bomber jackets. They've got throwback. They got the Unforgettables shirt. They've got retro logos, all kinds of stuff there, man. Check out Home Field Apparel. Use our code CSCast, or just hit that QR code right up at the top of the screen, and it'll send you right to shopping. Look up SEC in Kentucky, and you'll find your Kentucky gear, guys. I'm going to leave it up on the screen while we're talking tonight, and that way you guys can check it out at any time during the show. All right. Like I said, this is Wildcat Weekly. We're at Week 16. This is Season 4, John. Our episode number this year, just in Season 4, is number 39.
Been a ride.
Seem like we've done 39 episodes of this?
It don't seem like it, but we have.
All right, John. We are going to get started off with the bad this week, all right?
Yeah,
it's behind us in the background. We're going to get started off with the bad. John, Nashville was not pretty over the weekend.
It was not. It was near unwatchable. Well, let's be honest, Brad. It was ugly. They looked out of sorts. They had no. It felt like that they was just in a I'm just happy to be here type mood. Type deal. It's basically what it boils down to.
I don't even know if they were happy to be there. They act like they didn't want to be there.
Well, I mean, you had both sides of it. I mean, then you had the fans booing. Now, let's be fair, Brad. Kentucky's probably without their best prospect in Jaden Quainance. He's recovering from a knee surgery. But you should not look this bad. You know, you got a $20 million roster. I mean, you can stand an injury or two at the very least, but you shouldn't avoid things like this. Take these players, off the cap sheet, and this is probably still one of the most expensive rosters. I'm talking about Jaden Quainance and Lowe. you're probably still got a top roster, and you're still doing this. Like there has to be an end-all, be-all type thing. This roster don't seem to fit what Pope has, his coaching. They're not working together for some reason.
So just starting out, just talking about this game, and I said this to you, like it was almost like Kentucky had the deer in the headlights look. And I'm not talking about just Coach Pope. I'm talking about the players on the floor. I mean, it was almost like they were in shock and almost paralyzed and couldn't move. And just like the bright lights got to them, and they just had that deer in the headlights look. The whole team. Would you agree with that?
I would. There was a play, I think it was, I don't know if it was first half, second half, but there was a play where Owe was looking for the ball, and Aberdeen didn't look for him, and instead of looking for him, I think they turned it over maybe, and Owe was just acting like he was pretending to shoot a three.
Yeah.
Like it was.
But, John, there was so many plays where we just lollygag back down the court. They got fast breaks. They wasn't crashing the boards. They were lollygagging to the boards. I mean, my biggest issue here is this is Kentucky basketball. That's not – if you don't have effort and you don't have some heart and passion, you should not be on the floor. I don't care if you're a top 10, 15 first round pick. I don't care if they paying you $3.5–4 million. If you can't give some effort, you don't need to be out there. Period.
No, I mean, does it really get fixed, Brad?
Well, we're going to run through a couple of topics. I want to start out with team chemistry because I believe that is one of the biggest problems. And, John, I want to ask you about something. You know, after the Louisville game, Coach Pope at the press conference started kind of acting a little off, okay?
Yeah, I agree.
And he mentioned that something went on before the game. Now, a week or so later, he tried to play it off like it was almost nothing. But when you see this team perform since then, it definitely doesn't look like it's nothing.
No, there's something there. Something happened before that Louisville game. I don't know whether it was a fight. I don't know because I wasn't there. Whether it was a fight, somebody got in an argument, somebody said something to one another, somebody's upset over a girlfriend, like rumors had been posted, but I don't know any of that because I'm not deep into the, locker room on that regard. There was a lot of rumors going around. And the thing is, Brad, you can't really tell what really goes on. Pope and that team knows what happened in that locker room before the Louisville.
Yeah, but my problem is even Pope acts like he's like flabbergasted and he doesn't know what to do. You're the leader of the Kentucky Wildcats. You got to step up and figure this out.
Well, and then you had the national media question this team's talent. They lack their effort. This Kentucky team, they have a tendency, Brad, to get punched in the mouth, and once they get punched, they just quit.
But what's up with the chemistry on this team? It's almost as if there's no flow. Nobody likes one another.
There's no flow to the game. You look at
mean, they can't even pass the ball in a straight line to somebody. It goes over here like you're shooting an air ball, and it's a pass. I mean,
there's no flow. There's no chemistry. There's no effort at times. It just feels like they're playing a bunch of game of pickup. Is what basically it boils down to.
So I want to ask you, I got it at the end of this. How do you fix it? Because in my opinion, John, I don't know what happened at that Louisville game, before the Louisville game. I don't know what it was. Something clearly is off with this team, and I believe it started then, okay? And it's gotten progressively worse ever since. Mark Pope has got to pinpoint who and what is going on, and if they can't play with the rest of the team, you got to set them out. I don't care.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question about this team. And I'm not being harsh. I'm just being straight because, you know, me and you, we're always straight. I feel like that Pope is trying to be their friend instead of being their coach.
I think Pope was trying to pacify whatever happened between these. He was trying to just sit back and hope that they would figure it out and fix it on their own. That's what I think. Well, they clearly aren't doing that. And this past weekend, you're going to have to step up and take control of this. And you're going to have to figure out who it is, what it is. And if they can't overcome it, you got to get them off the floor.
Here's the thing that really sits bad with me. Kentucky shot 16 of 60 for the entire game. They hit more free throws than actual shots on the floor.
I know. John,
that's embarrassing, Brad.
It's I said embarrassment in Nashville. That's exactly what it was. All right, John, I want
to say this real quick before we move on. There was a lot of forced shots because of their passing around the perimeter. Nobody wants to take a bucket. That's the problem.
Well, when you're shooting 16, 18, 20%, and all you're shooting is threes, that's a problem. And that's exactly why offensive player fit. Pope has a system that he likes to run. And we are almost 10 games into this season, okay? This isn't a 1 or 2 game sample that we're talking about here.
Bring up the stat that you told me about Graham Ike.
Hang on. Yes, you can say that in just a second, but let me finish this. Clearly, John, the offense that he wants to run is not gelling with the players on this team. It's not. And it's your job to adjust and to fix it. Mark Pope, I'm talking to you 100%. It's your job to adjust and to fix it. You can't put up 35, 40 shots, 3-pointers a game if you're going to miss them all. It doesn't matter how many you shoot. If you can't hit but 3 or 5 of them, it don't matter if you shoot 30 or 130. You're still only going to score 15 points by hitting 5.
What was the stat that you brought up about Graham Ike? There was Graham Ike.
All right, so Graham Ike, Kentucky only made 9 2-point field goals the entire game against Gonzaga. Okay? Graham Ike had 10 himself. Or it's not Ike. EK. Graham EK had 10 himself. One player had more field goals than the entire Kentucky team. If that's not sad, I don't know what is.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you what I was always taught in basketball, and I'm talking about since I was 3 or 4 years old, okay? When you're having trouble shooting and having trouble scoring, take the ball inside. On top of that, take it inside and draw some fouls and go to the free throw line, and maybe you'll find your stroke from the free throw line.
Yep.
There's two things you do. It's not stand outside when you're throwing up brick after brick after brick after brick. That's not how you fix it. You cannot do that. It's never worked. You are not going to shoot and win a game and figure it out and find your shooting stroke. Can you do that in practice? Sure. In practice, you can just keep firing away and figure out your form and figure out what's wrong. You can't do that against Gonzaga in the middle of a damn game. I mean, it's just, I mean, come on now. My thing here is clearly the offense he wants to run is not a great fit with this bunch of players, especially not with the 3 or 4 players that we have out.
No, it's
okay.
It feels like
maybe if you get everybody back, maybe you can go back to it. I'm not going to say because I ain't seen it. I don't know. But right now, you have got to make some adjustments and start getting the ball inside and score some damn points. You can't have 3 or 4 damn field goals made at halftime.
Another thing that really kind of offset the offense was the fact that it got the defense into a bind. You know, they would step slow, getting back in transition. They couldn't contain their big men. Braden Huff and Graham Ike combined for 48 points, Brad.
Ate them alive.
And they had 46 points in the paint. You have got to find a way to stop the inside stuff. Like, I understand, Jaden Clance is out. He would help with a lot of that. But nobody's willing to step up right now, and that's a problem when you got teams like Indiana coming up Saturday. You got St. John's next week.
Defensive issues. Like right now, I'm going to defensive issues, John. There's plenty of them to talk about. You can talk about getting back. You can talk about, off your offside, but off the ball side. You can talk about hustling back, like to get a rebound.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of things to talk about here. But I'm going to tell you one thing that I think that Pope absolutely has to do. I think you have to extend your defense and try to create some turnovers, and maybe, just maybe, that'll help your offense because you can get some quick buckets.
I mean, that's what you're going to have to do. You can't continue to do what they're doing right now.
You can't sit back and not create turnovers and do all this and play lollygagging defense, and everything that you're doing. You're going to have to get out and hustle and show some effort and passion on the damn floor. And if you can't do that, you got to sit.
I'm going to tell you one that I'm really frustrated with, Brad, and we'll move on to volleyball. And that's Otega Owe. There was moments in this game, Brad, he was throwing his hands up, putting his head down. There were multiple times where he didn't even try defensively, wouldn't even move.
Let me ask you one more question about this defense, and you're right on Owe, all of them. I'm not pointing anybody out specifically, okay? Not really, because the other night, all of them were horrible. But I want to ask you something. Did you see anybody block out in that entire damn game?
I mean, there might have been a few times, but when it was, it never really made a difference.
I mean, Lord have mercy. Do we not teach blocking out in basketball anymore or what?
I mean, you gotta get some physicality in the paint. You cannot continue to get pushed around like they're being pushed around. And when you do that, you're not going to win very many games. You're going to be like you was Saturday or Friday. You know, they had 48 points in the paint, Braden Huff. It's just going to continue to add up, and it's going to add up to, I mean, you talked about it, Kentucky missing the NCAA tournament.
So this is my last topic, and we're going to move on from Kentucky basketball. From the very beginning, Pope has preached about playing for the name on the front of the jersey.
Yep.
From the very beginning.
And that's the thing.
And that's the thing. If what we saw on Friday is playing for the name on the front of the jersey, we've got a huge astronomical problem, because that, my friend, was about as pitiful of an effort that I've ever seen, and I've been watching Kentucky basketball for nearly 50 years.
I'm going to tell you this. The one thing that really agitates me is it's not only like, you know, Kentucky media looking at it. You have Bruce Pearl calling it out. He said the jersey has to mean something.
I appreciate that. I'm not sure if this is Dwayne, but if it is, I appreciate that.
It's Dwayne. Bruce Pearl brought up a good point. The jersey, the front of the jersey has to mean something. And right now, you got $22 million payroll of a bunch of guys that feel like that they can just do their own thing.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something, John. If it doesn't mean something to these players, it sure as shit should mean something to Mark Pope. He wore this jersey,
and he won a championship,
and he won a national title. And by that, I'm not questioning you, Mark. I'm not. What I am doing is I'm wondering why you're sitting back and watching these other kids and allowing them on the floor to do that. I don't know, but you can turn your head. You can look back. You got players on the bench.
I mean, I
promise you, somebody will get on that floor and play with passion and care about the name on the front of the jersey.
There was a point in that game, I kid you not, and I know I'll probably get whipped over this, but there was a point in the game, I think we was down to 8, maybe 9 early in the first half. Might have been more than that I would have put Walker Horn in just to prove a point.
Any of them. I don't care who it is. Those two you got sitting over there that you talking about redshirting, I don't care who it is.
Hawthorne and
you cannot sit and watch these guys play with no heart, no passion, and not caring one bit on the floor in a Kentucky jersey. You cannot let that happen again.
You can't. Unfortunately not. Nope.
Now, with that said, John, there are 2 opportunities this week. You get a warm-up game tomorrow night, North Carolina Central, and then we get Indiana. It's a home game at this court behind us, Rupp Arena. You've already let North Carolina slip away. It's a must-win.
I'll be honest with you, Brad. This Indiana game, I'll just be honest with you, it's crucial. It's a rivalry game. You know, it's the first game back for Indiana probably since the early 2000s. I don't even remember a time when Indiana really came to Lexington.
It's been since, as far as I know, it's been since the 80s.
And I think they played a game, I think it was during the Billy Gillespie era, maybe. I can't remember. It was just one game. But you got to win this game. You cannot afford to lose this game with St. John's the following Saturday. Because here's what's going to happen. I wrote an article on this. It'll be out in the morning. What's going to happen is if you lose this game and you don't beat St. John's, you have no wins, ranked wins, and non-con that's going to help you on Selection Sunday?
Nope.
None.
Nada. Nothing. Zilch. Zero. That's what you got. A goose egg.
Yep.
As my dad used to say.
So you better win this game.
All right, John. I am going to move on from to volleyball. All right. We're going to move on from basketball. We're going to move on to volleyball. There is a big week in volleyball this weekend, or actually this week. I want to bring it up because I want to mention it because I want fans to show up, man. It's a tough one. It's a 3:30 in the afternoon game on Thursday, and I'll put that up on the next one. But Memorial Coliseum is hosting the Sweet 16 and what would be the Elite Eight if you're comparing in basketball. I don't know if volleyball calls it that or not, to be honest with you. But it's round 3 and round 4, and it's the right to go to the Final Four. It's a big deal to be the number 1 seed, the number 1 seed, and to have this and to host this at home.
I'm going to tell you something, Brad. This Cal Poly team that they're fixing to play is really good.
It is. That is who they play on Thursday is Cal Poly.
Listen, they had a really good run against USC.
They did.
Emma Frederick, she's really good. She led Cal Poly with 17 kills and 15 points. Annabelle Falcon is really good. Bashir is really good. I felt like USC played better, but they just ran out of steam a little bit.
This is definitely they're on a roll. Cal Poly is now. Kentucky's won. I done lost track now. It's like 23 or something in a row, 22, 23 in a row, something like that. I've done lost track now because they've played some SEC and 2 tournament games. But it's like 22, 23 in a row, something like that. Kentucky has won. And this Cal Poly team's right up there. I think they've won in the teens or something in a row, I believe, if I remember right.
Had a career high kill count. She tied her career high with 30. Eva Hudson was responsible for 57 of those. UCLA's coach, Afi Ref, she talked about how they was the nation's top outside hitter. I
think that was the first win ever versus UCLA.
I think it was.
I believe that's what I saw.
The Bruins played tough. They won set 3. I just felt like Kentucky was just so much better.
Have 4 national titles over the years. I'm pretty sure from what I've seen, like they're a fairly big powerhouse in volleyball, and it was big to match up with them in the second round. Even though they were the 8th seed and Kentucky was the 1, I don't think Kentucky had ever beat them. They beat them 3-1 to move on here. They do get Cal Poly got the upset over USC. So
you know what's nuts about this Cal Poly team? They was unseeded to number 16.
They were.
They were the sole unseeded team to make the regionals.
Yep. They were. And they don't have a seed beside them in the NCAA tournament. And volleyball.
They play really tough. They're hard-nosed. They get after it. They're fast. They're quick. I just think Kentucky has a little bit too much, Brad. I really think Kentucky's going to go to the Final Four. Now, I've seen crazier things happen in these tournaments, but I just feel like Kentucky has that drive right now. They're playing some of their best volleyball right now, and I think they're going to get there and make some noise.
So also on Thursday, Arizona State and Creighton play each other. This will be in Memorial Coliseum as well. So it is 2 games that you get to see on Thursday.
Arizona State's really good.
Creighton is really good as well.
Yeah, Creighton's good. I think – what are they? what seed was they? I can't remember.
So USC was the 4.
Before Creighton, I think was
Arizona State is either the 2 or 3.
yeah, something like that. Creighton, they got pushed by Northern Colorado in the first round, and then they had to really play tough with Northern Iowa. So it's going to be tough for Creighton against a really good Arizona State team. I think Kentucky has got this region. Now, like I said, it's up for grabs. Anything can happen, but I think Kentucky being at home helps quite a bit.
They need the crowd to show up. This will be Thursday and possibly Saturday for the region finals is what I will call it here. That game, John, will be for the right to go to what we call the Final Four. And it is in Kansas City this time. So, if Kentucky can make it through this region and they are the top seed, it would be an upset if they get beat at home, to be quite honest with you. They are the favorite here to get to Kansas City next. I think it's the 18th and the 21st or something like that, the games.
Yeah, something of that nature.
So it'll be like next week when they're playing those games. And the champion will be crowned. All the 1 seeds are still in this thing. Texas, Pitt, and Nebraska and Kentucky are all still in this out of the Sweet 16. So it's just going to be really exciting. I know the girls have put in a ton of work, and they're extremely talented. I'm definitely going to be pulling for them. Going to see if Eric's going to go to one of the games this week for us. So stay tuned. We'll see what we get done here for volleyball. We're going to move on to women's basketball. And John, I was in Memorial Coliseum yesterday, and the Cats got the win.
Yeah, it was a slow start, but
they won 82-55 over Central Michigan yesterday, improved to 10-1 on the season. I want to talk a little bit in this game, John. Tiani Key played pretty well. She had 17 points and 11 boards, had a double-double. And there was 5 girls in double figures. Tony Morgan also had a good game. She had 12 points, 11 assists, and again, 0 turnovers yesterday. And, of course, Obi and Strack both had 14 points. So it was an all-around game for the girls yesterday.
Yeah, and they scored the first 12 points the third quarter. They pushed their lead out to 19. They led, I think, by 15 through the third quarter. They only allowed 3 field goals in the fourth quarter, and they led by 30 at one point. So they basically put this game away. And another thing that was kind of interesting about this game is Charlie Darrington, former UK Wildcat football. His daughter plays for Central Michigan. Yep.
And she had 11 points yesterday. She actually had a big cheer in the crowd during the introductions, the starting lineups. The crowd cheered for her, knew who she was, Darrington, and she had a good game yesterday. She was actually in the press conference and was talking about it afterwards. So that was kind of cool to see as well from this game yesterday, to be quite honest. But John, today, Kentucky women, they wake up and every day the net rankings is updated. And today they went from 8 to 7. They are number 7 in the net rankings today. They are 10-1. They have 4 road wins. They're 4-0 on the true road games this season, and that helps their net rankings. They're number 7. South Carolina's like 6.
Yeah,
they're the 4th SEC team and number 7 in the country in the net rankings today. It's pretty impressive.
It is. They're moving up. They're playing good. Clara Strack's doing her thing. Key's playing really well. Now, Tony Morgan, I think, got a little scare there. She looked like she might have got hurt, but she decided I think, come back and play. So hopefully everything's all right with that. Not sure what the injury was. Might have been an ankle.
Yeah, I think it was. But she come back. She looked
come
okay.
back and got in the game. So everything worked out. So they got to have Key. They got to have Strack, and they got to have Morgan.
Yep.
This team is rolling. Those 3 are the best 3, in my opinion. Now, Jordan Obie's playing really well, I think. Kaylin Carroll, she plays her role really well. I love what her role is. She just, comes off the bench and does her little thing. But the thing about it is, Brad, we really don't know what this team's about until we get into SEC play. I feel like the Maryland game, I'm not going to say it was all them, but I feel like a lot of that had to do with jet lag. Being over,
it could have been.
Over in Puerto Rico. I mean,
it could have been.
Could have had some, slide effects.
Yeah, it could have been. So about this net rankings that I was talking about here, Kentucky's one of 7 teams that's got 2 or more wins, quad 1 wins already. That's one reason why they're up there. There's only 7 teams that have 2 or more quad 1 wins. So Kentucky is 2-1 in quad 1 games right now, and number 7. And also today, John, they went up 2 spots in the AP poll to 15.
They did. They're reaching for number 10. They're getting in close to the top 10. They do. The thing that really bothers me is they don't play again to the 14th, which kind of stinks. They play Belmont. This is the worst time of year. Me and you talked about
that actually is my next topic. And John, I don't know if you know that much about Belmont, but they're one of those little tough, like small school teams. They have played 3 games against quality opponents. They played Tennessee, they played Oklahoma, and NC State, maybe. I can't remember. They played 3 of them and hung close in all 3 of them.
Yeah,
for most of the game. And John, this is on the road. These other teams have not played them on the road. This is going to be at Belmont's home. This is in Nashville.
It's going to be a tough game.
It's not going to be an easy environment here going into their house to win against a tough opponent.
It's going to be tough, but I feel like the girls know what they're getting themselves into. I like the fact that Kenny Brooks plays these games. It kind of prepares them for the tournament, prepares them for SEC play. It will be a good learning experience for both teams, for Belmont Bruins and Kentucky. So I think this game will be fun to watch and see where Belmont lines up to where they could make a run in their conference tournament down the road.
If you go check out Belmont, the girls' team, the women's team this year, they have played 3 quality opponents and played them tough. Now, Tennessee, I think, pushed it out to a 10 or 12-point win at the very end. But, I mean, this was a 3 or 5-point game with just a few minutes to go. Belmont had the lead at halftime in that Tennessee game.
They did.
And Oklahoma, I mean, very close game the whole way. Now, I'm not sure if they didn't pull it out just a little bit, but this is going to be a tough environment and tough place. And I like what you said here, because Kenny Brooks, this is going to be their 12th game. 5 of them are going to be on the road.
Yep.
5 of the 12, and 2 are neutral site. They were only going to have 5 home games and 5 road games out of 12. There's not too many people and coaches that are scheduling like that in the country. Not true road games, maybe some tough neutral site games, but not true road games. one last topic, and we're going to get to football topics here, John. The women's team, they're top 10 in the country in a ton of stats.
Yep. Defense.
They're number 1 in the country in block shots. They're like number 3 in assist to turnover ratio. Defensive field goal percentage, they're like number 3 in the country. Scoring margin, they're in the top 10. And there's 2 or 3 others as well. They're like 7 different categories that this team is in the top 10 of the country in. And it's pretty impressive, John.
It is. It's very impressive, Brad.
You know, I think when SEC play starts, you were talking about that a little bit earlier. I think when SEC play starts, I think other schools are going to be surprised at just how tough defensively this Kentucky team is.
Yeah, they're going to be good once they get into SEC play. They're going to go up against teams like Texas, Tennessee,
LSU right off the bat.
Right off the bat, like you said. It's going to be impressive to see where they stand in those categories when they go up against tougher competition.
It is. All right, John, we're going to get to football. Let me get some let me get this changed over. We're going to get to football. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, John. We were on here Monday night. And last Monday night, there was word that it was going to be Will Stein. We pretty much knew, but it wasn't official when we were doing the show. And it wound up being official like an hour after we got off the show, maybe last Monday night. He had his press conference on Wednesday. And Kentucky football, John, has a new football coach. It's been a long time since we've been able to say that.
Yeah, we had Mark Stoops. He had some of the best years in Kentucky football history. I just want to thank him for his time here. Those days are over, Brad. They swallowed a $38 million buyout to pull the plug off of Stoops.
We're going to end the show with that, by the way. So just giving you a heads up.
Stein, he shot up really quickly. He was assistant coach at a Texas high school. I think, was it Texas Lakes? I can't remember. He had a really fast rise, Brad. He had one of the nation's best offenses in the past 3 years.
It's Lake Travis.
Lake Travis, that's it. Now, he's probably not going to have the same caliber of athlete that he would at Oregon. But I'm going to be honest with you, Brad. He offers hope, success through the air. Kentucky's probably going to find him some quarterback. Find him a quality quarterback in the portal. I don't know about Cutter Bowley. There's a lot of talk that he may stay, he may go. I don't know yet. It depends.
Yeah, it is like
where Bowley's mind frame's at. This typically, Brad, I feel like this kind of hire, it feels he's really never led a program. He's one of the top young offensive minds, right? His offenses at UTSA was really good. His development of quarterbacks were really good.
You're absolutely right. It's kind of exciting time, despite the last 2 years for Kentucky football fans. But I want to say this: there was some news that come out earlier this evening, I guess I should say. That there was another SEC school that offered him before Kentucky did. I think that was Arkansas in their search. I'm not 100% sure on that. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But I do think Arkansas was the first one to reach out to him. But from my understanding, Kentucky had already made, just an initial, hey, would you be interested if it comes available type deal. And Stein had already told them that he would. The way I understand it. That was back when we were getting trounced by Tennessee and stuff a few weeks ago, 6-7 weeks ago now. And so there was already some word that he would be interested. But before they fired Stoops on that Sunday and hired him on Monday, another SEC school had already made contact with him and kind of offered and see if he had any interest, at least. So I thought that was interesting. But John, I want to get to, well, everybody talked about the press conference, but the day he had his press conference was the first day of early signing day, and here he is, brand new, just flew in the night before, and he's on the phone with these recruits, taking NLIs and everything, and trying to put together a signing class.
Well, yeah, and we added the LSU offensive coordinator, Joe Sloan. He took that same role in Lexington. Sloan's history at LSU was 20 to 25. He's had a really good history with quarterback development. We had Jaden Daniels. Burke has a history with tight ends. Burke will be here too. Pat Bondo, I think that's his name. He was the Oregon's director of recruiting. He will be the new general manager.
You're jumping the gun on me. I want you to talk about the recruiting class because all you're talking about is my next topic.
Oh, okay.
We'll get to that.
Well,
I promise.
We really don't have a big class right now, Brad. We got the Darby kid from LSU, the decommit. There's a few Kentucky kids that signed. I feel like he's going to go more portal this year than he will be in the recruiting realm of things.
I think it's pretty darn amazing that he's never been a head coach. He flies in the night before and has to wake up, and it's signing day, and to be able to almost all the class except for one that was signed committed to Stoops a couple of days before, stayed in the class, and Stein added about 3 kids to this class, a couple of offensive linemen, the Darby wide receiver, 4-star from LSU, which is his first big, Kenny Darby, his first big commitment signing, I guess you could say. And I just want to give him a shout out. I think his 15 players. And to do that in your first day, I thought it's pretty amazing.
Now, I will say that they had a 4-star flip. Messiah Tilson.
They did.
From Purdue.
He's the one kid.
I'm going to say this. For Kentucky to make a late push like they did for Darby, he's a 4-star wide receiver, Bossier City, Louisiana. He played at Airline. He's the 188th overall prospect, and he's the 6th best ranked player in the state of Louisiana. And
the top wide receiver in the state of Louisiana.
Here's where it really blows my mind. He was down to Alabama, LSU, Colorado, Ole Miss, and Houston. You basically knocked him out with Coach Prime and Bulldogs and the Alabama Crimson Tide plus LSU.
Yeah.
And then you bring Joe Sloan in to be the coordinator.
That's part of it is they brought in Joe Sloan, which is a big-time get.
He's got some major credentials when it comes to pulling some guys out of LSU.
He's recruited really well. He was the quarterback coach for Jaden Daniels. And now that he had been the OC the last year or two for Brian Kelly at LSU, he's got some big pull with recruiting, including getting this Darby kid. But I also what about the Burke? Is Burke from UTSA still coming? Do you think he's still on board?
Yeah, I believe he's going to be up in the press box. The word is that he's going to be here. So you're going to have a couple set of eyes. You're going to have the offensive coordinator, Sloan. You're going to have Burke up in the booth. it's going to be a nice fresh of air for the Kentucky
He's bringing
fans.
a big-time name. I don't know how to pronounce his last name yet. I have not heard anybody say it, but he has a general manager from Oregon, Pat, starts with a B. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce his last name. He's been the director of recruiting at Oregon, okay, who gets top 5, top 10 classes, okay? So he's pretty big in recruiting, all right?
I'll say this.
Which is going to be a big-time thing for Kentucky football.
I'm going to say this. I wouldn't say it's out there yet, but it will be eventually. I've heard some scuttlebutt that Stein is looking at the Oregon offensive line coach, Cutter Leftwich, the one that coached at North Texas. He was the offensive line, third in the nation total offense, fourth in passing offense. That was in 2004. I mean, he was the assistant offensive line coach. He had an offensive line that was coveted for the Joe Moore Award, which was the nation's top offensive line. Now, Brad, you bring that aboard, we could be talking some nasty offensive linemen coming through this program.
Which is going to be needed in the SEC.
Which will be needed. So
there's a couple other names that I want to mention here that actually have already kind of been announced as holdovers. Anwar Stewart, the defensive line coach, is supposed to stay on staff for Coach Stein.
Yep.
Mike Hartline, who had been like the QB coach. He had been with Cutter Boley and really helping him out this year on the sideline because Bush Hamden was in the booth upstairs. Hartline is reportedly going to be on this staff. Both are former Kentucky football players, standout players at that. So it's good to see him recognize like Kentucky former players that, that have been with the program. John, there's also a little bit of talk about the Washington wide receiver guy staying, but it hasn't been confirmed yet.
Kentucky got a commitment tonight from the Covington Calf quarterback, by the way. Cash Harney.
Okay.
Yeah, it was announced like at around 7. Quick feet, threw for over 1,000 yards. He's probably going to be a walk-on, I guess. I'm not sure if it's a scholarship, whether it's a walk-on.
Okay.
So, I thought that's pretty neat that Will Stein got a Kentucky kid there.
Yeah. All right, John. I want to move on and talk about some potential portal transfer additions. There's beginning to be a little bit of speculation, I guess we could say here, about some names that we might be able to see. One, I want to start with a QB from Oregon that they are saying might come with him.
Yeah, there's a few others too. Norris Sellers is one that will possibly enter the portal. That's a name to watch. Another name to watch is the North Texas quarterback, Drew Mestmaker. They think he'll follow Eric Morris to Oklahoma State, but he's someone that's probably going to draw a lot of interest. You're probably going to look at C.J. Bailey from NC State, might be one. He was probably one of the best quarterbacks in the country this year at NC State.
I mean, Sam Levitt is too, but the guy I'm talking about actually flipped his commitment. He flipped his commitment from Baylor to Oregon because of Will Stein. 4-star guy.
So we really don't know.
What's his last name? Austin
Novosad.
That's right.
I'll say this, Brad. Coming up, you're going to see some big names pop up. You're going to see some portal names pop up. You know, I'll be honest with you. Kentucky needs to
There's a
get
little bit of scuttlebutt tonight about possibly C.J. Baxter, who from Texas running back, who might put his name in the portal. They're saying he is.
Well, he is in the portal, so that would be another name. I feel like you're going to have to get 7 or 8 guys, top guys. Me and you talked about this earlier for the show. You're going to have to get 7 to 8 top guys, and then you're just going to have to mix the pieces up and put them together, like the offensive line. I will say Kentucky needs some linebackers. Their linebacker room is very low. They're probably going to need about 2 or 3 linebackers out of the portal.
Might need a cornerback or two.
Maybe a safety. There's probably a couple safeties that you're probably going to need. So, and hopefully you get Ty Bryant back, which, you know, I talked to his mom, I think it was a week ago, and she said he hoped he returned. So, getting Ty Bryant back.
I mean, you're going to need some big uglies. There is, some talk of a couple of kids. There's an offensive lineman out of Arizona State that's going to put his name in the portal. He's a big time get, got like 39 career starts. A name like that would be a big time get for an offensive lineman. Trying to think of his name. I looked at it earlier. I can't remember, but he's Arizona State offensive lineman. So there's some Sam Levitt from Arizona State is going to put his name in. There's been some talk of that, but I think we have some better options. I'm just going to be honest with you, especially with a throwing quarterback. I think we do, to be honest. But it is exciting to think that Kentucky is going to be in on some of these maybe 4, maybe 5-star kids.
Yeah, it's exciting. It gives you a lot of hope for next year. You know, I tell people this all the time, and we'll kind of just drag this in to the Stoops thing. I'm thankful for Stoops. I'm thankful for the things he's done here at UK. You know, he won 2 Citrus Bowls. They beat Iowa. They beat Penn State. I think they had 1 10-win season. Was it 1? I think. Was it the 9? It was the 8. It was 2.
It was 2, really. It was 2, really.
It was. My thing is here is I'm grateful for his time. And, you know, there was times where I didn't disagree. I agreed with Stoops. There was a lot of times where I didn't like it. But sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and just enjoy it. Enjoy the moment. And, you know, I had to do that at the time. And, you know, a lot of fans was frustrated. The thing that really got me was the Louisville loss, Brad. And the thing about it was how do you sell to the fan base on returning this back like this? There was going to be low production. Their fan base was probably not going to be there. You was going to have low ticket sales. There was not much excitement. How was you going to run this back?
There wasn't going to be. I mean, but I got to run through. I've got a couple other things that I want to get to, and then I'll get back to all the Stoop stuff, okay? The first one I want to ask you about is this. Oregon is number 5 in the college football playoffs. They're going to be playing number 12 JMU in Eugene, and their offensive coordinator is our new head coach, Will Stein.
Yep.
The winner is going to be playing Texas Tech in the quarterfinals. And do you think BBN will be paying attention and pulling for the Ducks in the college football playoff?
And I say that because I feel like that this is a recruiting pitch.
A big one. If he can, it's a big one if they can do good. Imagine if they can win and then knock off Texas Tech, who has played really good and got a great defense. If he can figure out that defense and knock off Texas Tech, that would be huge selling points for this recruiting class and everything.
You have that recruiting class, you have that pitch where you want to play in that type of offense, that kind of run and gun.
If he can show, because Texas Tech has one of the best defense in the country.
They do. One of the tops, yes.
Yes.
I think if they get to the semifinals or even to the finals and have a chance to play for a title, and know that the offensive coordinator for Kentucky or for Oregon is Will Stein, and he's going to Lexington, why would you not want to go follow him and play in that kind of offense?
Pitch, guys. If they can get to the semis or the championship, it's a huge pitch.
I'm going to tell you what really made me excited about this Will Stein. He talked about in his press conference, he was talking about taking risk, going forward on fourth downs,
fake punts, fake
punts.
Field goals. When's the last time we've seen a fake field goal?
It's probably been a while. And he talked about, lighting the scoreboard up, getting the fan base excited. I feel like, the transfer portal, like we kind of go back to it, it's also a big point. He's going to build his group through high school recruits. Let's think about it, Brad. He led Trinity to 3 state titles. He walked on at Louisville.
Yeah.
He beat Kentucky, actually.
Yeah. He walked on at Louisville and then earned the starting spot.
He did.
Yeah, as a walk-on.
Yep, sure did.
Then he got a scholarship, and then he got hurt, and Teddy Bridgewater took over.
Yep.
That's how it worked.
And here's the thing, Brad. I think you can win with this kind of like this recruiting pitch. You sell the point to this offense can make plays. This offense can score. This offense with a quarterback in the backfield that can sling it around. You're going to have receivers open. You're not going to have receivers blocking anymore. You used to tell me, you used to get mad. You said, all we want to do is block. Like now, you're going to get the wide receivers actually catching the ball.
They only knew how to run 3 routes. They blocked all the rest of the time. That's all they needed.
But now you're going to see a different kind of style. You're going to bring that style play to the SEC, and kids want to play in the SEC.
I'm kind of joking, guys. That was just a little fun, just a little joking, but still.
Right. But to get back to the Stoops thing, I'm thankful for the time here. I'm thankful for his opportunity that he had here. He had 13 years of the first couple of years was not great, but he kind of pulled it together. He got Josh Allen's. He got Mike Edwards's. He got Austin McGinnis, the kicker, one of our top kickers of all time in Lexington. I feel like he's one of the best kickers we've ever had. You had Jeff Badette. You had Benny Snell Jr. You had Lynn Bolden. You had Will Levis. You had Steven Johnson. I want to tell you something about Steven Johnson. Somebody told me the other day, he is the most underrated quarterback we've ever had.
Maybe.
But
let's talk about the chance that we see Dante Moore and that offense at Oregon tear up some Texas Tech Red Raiders defense. That'd be something here, guys, if that happens.
Be something to see. Yeah.
All right. Will Stein's contract is out tonight as well. John, first year he's only going to make $5.5 million.
Yeah.
He is the youngest coach in the SEC. Kentucky is paying him like he's the youngest coach in the SEC. He does have over what could be up to $2.15 million in bonuses. If he could win the whole thing.
You want to know what the good thing is? Is the buyout is paid monthly.
It is, and it's 70% of whatever's left.
70%.
But the one thing he does have in his contract, John, that I found interesting, if he takes Kentucky to the college football playoff, he gets a 1-year contract extension. Every time he would do it, he gets a 1-year contract extension. Now, it can't max out more than 5 years at a time, but he would get a 1-year contract extension every time he got the Wildcats to the college football playoff. And he gets $500,000 for making the national championship game, and he would get $500,000 for winning the national championship game. So that potentially could be $1 million bonus right there for playing in and winning the national championship.
Here's the thing. If the coach terminates without a cause, the coach pays a reduced percentage.
Yeah.
30% of the remaining salary.
Right.
And his
The
benefits
buyout.
and his benefits are pretty neat too. You know, he had the retirement match on a 401k base, health, temporary housing, private jet used, personal suite for the home games, membership in a private club, tickets to other UK events. So he gets some benefits out of this too.
Absolutely, John. Now, let's get to year one, early expectations before we know the roster and who's transferring out and all this kind of stuff. We heard him at the press conference say he wants to win and he's here to win now. That's what he said. He says he knows how to do it. He's programmed to do it. He's been with Dan Lanning. He has been at Texas. He's been other places as well, Louisville, UTSA. He is trained for this and says he wants to win and win now. He said, not in 5 years, not in 10 years. We're here to win now. With that said, expectations year one. Kentucky's schedule's not soft, I can promise you.
And, you know, he made a statement that says, why even show up if you're not trying to win it all?
Yeah. So, year one expectations, what do you think? Would 8-4 blow your mind, or is blowing your mind 10-2?
With the schedule next year, Brad, he faces a gauntlet. You know, he's going up, plays Alabama, LSU,
Oklahoma, Texas, Tennessee, Florida,
South Carolina, Tennessee, A&M. They're the road opponents.
A&M, yeah.
Then they play Louisville at the end of the year, which will close out the regular season. You play Youngstown State. You play South Alabama. That's before the gauntlet.
Yeah.
The Wildcats, for me, is being competitive in several of these. Maybe pull off a win as an underdog at home, which will be encouraging, They may have to pull off a few upsets.
Are you saying you'll be happy with a bowl game, or do you think you want 7-8 wins next year?
I think a bowl game would suffix next year, especially because of the schedule, because you're playing Florida, Alabama.
I'm going to be honest with you, John. The SEC, with the teams that are in it now and the 9-game schedule, it's going to be that way every single
year. It is. I feel like you got to be in some of these road games, maybe pull off a win. Maybe a Missouri game, maybe South Carolina, maybe Missouri. Like I said, Missouri. Maybe get Tennessee, maybe. And then you got the home games, Alabama, Florida, LSU, and Vanderbilt. Florida's kind of going to be back. I wouldn't say back. Florida's still going to have some work to do because they got John Summerall now. I feel like that's a winnable game. I feel like Vanderbilt's a winnable game.
At home?
With Diego Pavia leaving.
Yeah. Power's gone. Yeah.
I think there's 6 wins maybe there. And maybe you're going to have to pull off a few upsets. I think 6-7 wins would be sufficient for the year to get to a bowl game. And I feel like for fans in general, beating your rival like Tennessee after where you've struggled with them for so long and you beat them in Will Stein's first year, like that would set off the
all right. Are fans going to be happy with just like a 6-6? Do you think they'll be happy, or
I think they will if they beat.
Going to start messing with Stein if they're 6-6?
I don't think they'll mess with Stein. You know, I know I'm probably going to get whipped over this one, but I kind of look at it from A&M when they hired Elko type. Elko came in and he
pretty good, and he was at Duke before. We're talking about a guy who hasn't been a head coach.
Well, I know that. I'm just saying he come in, you know, kind of a jump start the program. The buyouts are kind of the same, like Mark Stoops and Jimbo, kind of like the same issue there. And he comes in and he just wins. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be games where fans are going to get agitated.
I think Elko went 8-4 last year in his first year, I believe.
But I think overall, as a whole, you got to be happy with a bowl year. And I think if Kentucky can get to a bowl game next year, I think they can. I think the fans will be really happy.
All right, you brought him up 2 or 3 times. I do want to get to Mark Stoops' buyout. This come out right before we come on, or just right within the hour that we came on here. So I did add this as we started to come on here. But John, basically, Kentucky in 15 days is paying Stoops almost $4 million. And then starting July 1 of next year, quarterly, broke up into quarterly payments, they're going to pay him $6.75 million for the next 5 years until halfway through, till June 30th of 2031.
2030.
31, I'm pretty sure.
No, it
was
5
years.
The last year was 2030.
It's 5 years, and there are going to be 20 payments. Now, 6.75 is broke down into 4 payments each year. So, I don't know.
He'll be paid in 26, 27, 28, 29, and 2030. That's 5.
Yeah. And it's, like I said, 6.75. Now, Stoops didn't have to do this. All right. He does get a couple of benefits. Like, there is a couple of things that, so he still has to cooperate if something is brought up, he has to come back. Like, if the NCAA brings something back and says anything, he still has to cooperate with Kentucky and everything. Mm-hmm. And nothing, even future payments, if he gets hired somewhere else, none of that matters. He's getting his money from Kentucky.
And I'm going to say this, Brad. What would it be like just to sit on a beach and drink a margarita with the money he's going to have?
So basically, the next 5.5 years, because the payments don't start for 6 months. He gets a $4 million payment, 3.93 or something like that. And then it starts July 1st of 2026. Mm-hmm. And he will get quarterly payments like 1.4 or 1.5, whatever that is, that equals 6.75. I haven't figured that up yet. Like I said, all this just come out within the hour probably that we come on the air. So just wanted to throw that in here. Stoops basically did not have to do this. He was owed the full $37.7 million within 60 days. So him agreeing to this and being okay with it was a way for him to say that he does care about Kentucky. He does care about Kentucky athletics, and not holding them to the whole thing within 60 days.
Well, I say that to end this show.
He did do the right thing for himself, John, and he is going to get his money no matter what. But he at least prolonged it out for Kentucky.
Yeah, here's the thing that really sets it apart is he could have walked into that room as we're getting off the show, but he could have walked in that room and said, "You know what? I want my money now.
Yep.
I want my money this moment." And Kentucky would have been in a bind.
Absolutely.
They'd have probably had to bring Stoops back. But because he was gracious enough to sit down and kind of work things out and do it quarterly, they decided to be transparent and be open to doing things the right way. And I think that protects his legacy.
It does.
And his opportunity to come back one day.
If you're a Kentucky fan and you're not okay with – listen, this wasn't Stoops' fault, and he had the contract to hold Kentucky to this. Yeah, he didn't have to do this. Now, let's be honest, John. Between Will Stein's contract and Mark Stoops' contract, for the next 5 years, Kentucky's out a lot of money for football.
They are.
Because the one thing that we're not even talking about yet is Will Stein's new staff.
Well, the thing is, that's not only that. You're looking at the NIL part of things. There's a lot of things kind of in play here. And
yeah, but you got to add another $5-6 million for a new staff at least. All right. So you're paying him 6.75. You're paying Stein over the course of his 5-year deal. It's an average of 5.7.
Wonder where that chump money's coming from.
That's 5.7. Then he can have 2.15 million in bonuses.
Yeah.
5 million, 6 million for a staff, and then you're going to have to pay the players $15 million a year.
You're going to have to get NIL deals and all that stuff going. So,
you're going to have to spend at least $15 million because a lot of these schools are spending 25 or 30.
Yeah, Ohio State, Georgia, some of the big schools.
40, even some of the big ones.
I think what you're going to have to do, Brad, is with Will Stein, you're going to have to sell his offense and sell some things for some of these players. NIL is going to have a lot to do with it, but you're going to have to sell the –
Well, that's why it is really, really a big deal about Will Stein being the offensive coordinator for Oregon and being in the limelight on national TV for every recruit to see and to tune into. And
deal.
if they can pull off some good wins, listen, in Eugene, let's be honest, they're a 20-point favorite against James Madison, all right? 20.5, I think it opened today. But I'm going to tell you guys right now, Texas Tech in the quarterfinals, if they get there, I'm not saying for sure they're going to beat JMU, but if they get there, Texas Tech has one of the best defenses in the country. And if Stein can pull that off on that stage and get to the semifinals and do good there, whether they win or lose, for Kentucky, there's nothing better for recruiting than that.
There's not.
There's nothing better. So let's all hope and pull for the Ducks. Who knows? Wouldn't it be awesome if the Ducks could win it all?
Be pretty neat.
With Stein as the offensive coordinator and everybody talking about how he's going to Kentucky next on the TV and media and everybody wanting to talk to him. And
yeah, that'd be pretty neat, bro.
That'd be pretty awesome. All right, guys, this has been Wildcat Weekly. We have talked about the Wildcats with 4 different sports, and that's what we've been doing here. We're covering men's basketball, women's basketball, volleyball currently, and football. Football is going to start slowing down a little bit, but there's going to be a lot of news coming out with Stein, so we're going to stay up with that. And then volleyball is going to end right before Christmas, and we'll have a little bit to do after that, probably with volleyball, because the portal's open actually in volleyball right now and open this week, and there's a lot going on there. So
I will say,
we'll be covering that too.
There'll be a few days during Christmas that we won't be doing a show, like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, we'll take some time off there. Yeah, because I'm busy like the 25th through the 28th.
I think it's the Christmas Eve and those 3 days, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and the 26th.
Yeah.
We got some family things going on, so probably won't be on there.
We'll take some time off. But
not like we do in the summer, but
no, we're talking about 3 or 4 days, something like that.
Like 3 or 4 days,
Yeah. But guys, it's been fun. Stay tuned. There's going to be a lot more to talk about with the Wildcats, and we appreciate you guys being with us and watching afterwards as well. Hit that QR code, get you some really cool retro gear from Home Field Apparel, use CSCast, go to the Real Fresh channel, check them out as well. We're on there with Howie Fresh. Y'all have a great night. We will see you maybe tomorrow for some college football playoff talk.